Ms. Tamara Holder has a fascinating background, a fascinating resume. Go online and look at it for a moment. I'm just going to touch on her background as an attorney, her background as a comedian, her background, and this should interest a number of people in this room, her background that she's the creator and founder of Sports Court, the only sports show across all Fox News platforms. She's the second city-trained comedian and performs political stand-up across the country. That's such an open line that I'm just not going to go with right now about political stand-up across the country. Most importantly, Tamara Holder is a distinguished political commentator on Fox News. Go online. You'll hear her speaking on many issues, diverse conversations, including some discussion on mental health. We're very happy, we're privileged that Ms. Tamara Holder has joined us this morning and looking forward to hearing her comments. Tamara Holder.
Thank you all. You probably can't tell by the way I'm dressed that I actually do work for Fox News because they usually put us in those tight jelly bean dresses. So when I was asked the title of today's speech, I said, I'm thinking of if you have a brain, you have mental health issues. And no, don't call it that, I was told. The audience may take it the wrong way and it could backfire. Well, it wouldn't be the first time that I said something that backfired. And I heard people speaking earlier about mental health and silence, and I've been called a lot of things, go online. And one of them, though, is not silent. So is everybody ready for a speech that has a lot of interesting things in it? Yes, okay. So my 63 years young mom recently died of liposarcoma. She suffered with this rare cancer for 4 years. And when I tell people this, they shower me with sympathy. My grandfather, her father, a Russian Jew who lived in Linden, New Jersey, he died of suicide. He suffered with mental illness for 50-something years, his entire life. One afternoon, he sent his wife, my grandmother, out of the house and burned it down. When I tell people this, oh wait, I never tell people this. I never met my grandfather, but my mom always said he was a wonderful man, just very ill. Then there's me. I'm one of the Democrats on Fox News. I mean, I'm one of one Democrats on Fox News. And when I tell people this, they shower me with sympathy. But in all seriousness, I do have a therapist. I have taken antidepressants. I have used alcohol to numb my emotional pain. I have struggled to get out of bed. I have lost a friend to suicide. I have watched my friends struggle with addiction, only to find out they were suffering from mental health disorders and using booze and pills as their medicine. Speaking of people with undiagnosed mental health issues, I have to mention Donald Trump. No, I'm not going to call him crazy. Crazy. But I thought of him as I worked on this speech for hours last night, while I researched every statistic possible. Like, from 1994 to 2003, the number of American children and adolescents treated for bipolar disorder increased 40%. Only 4 in 10 of those children received psychotherapy. In 2008, 159,000 people lost their jobs, the worst month, whatever month that was, I think it was November, in 5 years. Since the economic collapse of 2008, millions have remained out of work, without homes, drowning in debt. Moving on to China. Children in China are being left behind by their migrant worker parents at alarming rates, and these children are being diagnosed with depression. On to Brazil. Their unemployment rate is now at around 10% from just 6.5% last year. 9.6 million people are out of work and suffering from depression. In South Korea, the economy is also struggling there, and as a result, families aren't taking care of each other like they used to. We all know of that, the Asian cultural way of taking care of each other. Last year, 1,008 people died alone and uncared for because of the breakdown of the family unit. Back in America, we have 2.5 million veterans of the Iraq and Afghanistan wars. Many suffer from war zone injuries, post-traumatic stress disorder, depression, unemployment. The rate of drug overdose deaths from opioids, including prescription painkillers and heroin, tripled between 2000 and 2014. Deaths from opioid painkillers alone rose 9% in 2014. In 2014, opioids were involved in 28,647 deaths. The United States is the largest prison population in the entire world. Over 2.2 million of our fellow Americans are locked up in state and federal prisons. And that doesn't even include the local state and county jails that are constantly overcrowded. And many of our inmate population suffer from drug addiction and mental health disorders. Here in New York City, violent crime rates are on the rise. In 2015, homicides were up 5.1%, rapes 6.3%. There were 1,439 reported rapes, and 350 murders. And as the doctor said, 1 in 5 New Yorkers experience a mental health disorder every year. 8% of high school students in New York City report attempting suicide. And more than one report feeling persistently sad or hopeless. Yesterday in Times Square, there was a march in support of raising the minimum wage to $15 an hour. And just a few blocks away, Donald Trump supporters gathered in support of his messages, Mexicans out, no Muslims in, support our veterans. And you can like Donald Trump, I'm not really a fan, but, or Bernie Sanders or Hillary Clinton or whomever else, but, and you can support their positions, but the one thing we have in common is that every group is emotionally suffering. These are our neighbors and relatives. So back to the objected to title of my speech, if you have a brain, you have mental health issues. You may have never been depressed. You may never have been unable to feed your family. You've maybe never been addicted to drugs. Maybe you never went to war. But someone you know is suffering. And that is your issue. It's our issue. Mental illness is a public health crisis. And if we don't address it, which we really don't, it's because we're afraid of targeting somebody in the way that the person has a scarlet letter. It's a stigma. It's silent. So I want to thank Mayor de Blasio and First Lady Chirlane McCray's initiative, Thrive New York City. We now have this plan of action sitting right here. Aren't you going to sell it? The one for sale. And it outlines 54 initiatives, 23 of them are new to support the mental well-being of New Yorkers. But our work is not done. I went to Sloan Kettering every day for years with my mom. Dana-Farber, all of these huge places that support people with cancer. And there's really nothing that supports mental health except an online roadmap when we all have mental health issues. So I want to thank Ohel Children's Home and Family Services. I want to thank the mayor's office. I want to thank all of the elected officials that are here and everybody that's devoted to this cause, because it is our cause. And now it is time to take a Xanax, because this speech was very stressful. Thank you all.